Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Coach Tiffany Parra, editor in chief of Phoenix Fitness Fanatics magazine, elevating your mind, body, and spirit. Today, we are taking center stage on the Own It publishing platform with a couple of our amazing contributing writers who are also published authors. This is our Authors Network Spotlight, where we are going to dig into a few things that can help some of you aspiring authors and even some of you seasoned authors be able to thrive. So let me go ahead and bring these ladies on in the room. Hello, Teresa. Hi, Audrey. Welcome. I am so excited to have you all in the room to take center stage with me today on our Authors Network. You know, some of you may have seen these ladies on the show before. We really talk about a whole lot when we're on this platform. We talk about being physically fit, mentally fit, spiritually fit. We also celebrate authors and speakers for their courageousness in sharing their stories and their truth. So today we're going to talk about some things that come up when we are going through that author's journey. And one major thing that comes up is that self-doubt. Do we really want to share our story? How much do we want to share? Whose feelings are we going to hurt? All those different things race through our heads, right, ladies? And, that imposter syndrome as well. Sometimes we put ourselves in, groups where you have some authors that are there and you're reading their stuff and you're like, oh my gosh, I have to show up that way. And no, you have to show up authentic and true to you when you're sharing your stories. So I want to start with you, Teresa. What do you think about this, just overcoming, being an author and overcoming this self-doubt and this imposter syndrome that sneaks on in, as we go through this author's journey?
Yeah, thank you everyone for joining us today. And I think this is a great topic. When I wrote my book, Heal Your Heart from Within, it was written from the perspective, I'm a healthcare professional, a nurse practitioner, meditation instructor, yoga therapist. So I didn't have any imposter syndrome because I was writing about something as an expert. So what I was doing actually was bridging traditional medicine in the Eastern hemisphere, in the East, and in the West, I'm sorry, and bridging it with some of the Eastern traditions, things that you learn in a spiritual practice. So I had to bridge that in a way that it was accessible not only to my patients, but to healthcare professionals also. Because a lot of times there's this little divide. We're taught a certain way in the medical profession, in healthcare, and it differs a little bit from self-empowerment. We're not quite in the Western way of medicine. We're not quite into that self-empowerment fully yet. It's getting better and better, but it's still looking towards others, the experts, to help, and also mostly medications and procedures to help. So what I did was write a book, and it was written during 2020. So it was the perfect opportunity to get people in tune with themselves, because I think we all realize now that healthcare professionals did not have all the answers, maybe not even some of the answers in 2020. So a lot of things were left up to individuals, and we do have that ability to care for ourselves and be empowered, but we don't always trust it because we're taught to go outside ourselves for the answer. So for me, it was that bridging of, what I'm saying that could be science-based and what I'm saying that isn't science-based. And did it cause a little controversy? Yeah, a couple of times. It caused a little where colleagues would say, well, but you don't really know inner knowing. We don't know that we really have this. Sure, science hasn't actually sat down, just like miracles. There's no evidence with science that they could actually say, this is a miracle, this is a miracle, this is a miracle. But
Mhm.
not all things can be explained by science.
That's
So
right.
that's kind of what I had to do, was bridge what's really known in the profession to, hey, these are things that could help you out. They're non-invasive. They certainly won't hurt anybody, and they do enhance health and well-being because I've been using them in my practice for over 24 years. So the name of my book is called Heal Your Heart from Within. You can't see the whole thing with the background. If I hold up the book, that really doesn't work either. But my book is found on balboapress.com, amazon.com, and it's also available through Books A Million and Barnes and Noble. Um, so that was my challenge. Did self doubt ever come in? Sure, but I think we all have self doubt, and we just have to get past that self doubt and know that whatever we're writing, I didn't share my personal story per se. I shared stories of patients that I helped, tools, knowledge, tools that I developed to work with patients, and knowledge. So I think we always have to remember that unless we're writing fiction, the idea behind the book is to help others.
That's right. That's right. And I love that, you came at it as that expert, even in some of these, women empowerment books and things that I've been a part of. And as a visionary, that's exactly what it is. It's sharing your story as the expert because you overcame a situation, but I love that you took the tips and bridged the gap, there that we needed to bridge, between the science, base as well of that inner knowing. So awesome. So Audrey, let's talk about it. So with that overcoming, that self-doubt and that imposter syndrome, um, how do we do that? How were you able to overcome that? So you were able to get that chapter out and talk about your book, as well, with the audiences too.
Well, a little bit about my story with this book is it actually came. So it's a compilation. I have a chapter in a book, and it was your story at the time, like what your story is to heal, because my book is called Heal, right? It is on Amazon, and it was a group of women who are all in business, and it was to come together and write your healing story journey. And I was actually writing this chapter when I was in my deepest and darkest moment.
Mm-hmm.
To be honest, I was like, I had a brain infection. I had a bladder infection that was turned into a brain infection. So I wasn't actually thinking very well at the time I wrote this. And I actually just read it this morning, the beginning, and I'm like, that was me? Like, I wrote this? Really? And I'm like, holy cow. So for me, I was like, at the time, I was like, oh, I can't get this out. Oh my gosh, like my brain. And we did have a mentor. So that might be another part of it is to have somebody saying you can do it.
Mm-hmm.
Get it out there, right? Someone needs to hear your story. But for me, I wasn't even thinking clearly at the time. And I did it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I said, I'm going to get this out, this chapter. It was only 1,500 words, but I got it out there. It was so hard for me, so hard to get just those words out. I'm not a wordsmith anyway. So I actually just say what I think. And it's not always finesse. It's not always nice or politically correct. But I still got these words out. And I guess it's my advice and whatever to anybody is just start writing. Start writing it on a piece of paper and start getting it out there. And,
Yeah.
you know, don't think. I keep seeing this everywhere, and it's kind of on the side of my screen here. It says she gave little, and I know I'm going to swear, sorry.
Okay.
It says, and she gave zero fucks, not even one. She lived happily ever after, the end. And that's, ever since then, writing this, it's like, I'm just going to do it, right? Even being on here, I'm just going to do it. I don't feel worthy to be here. Like, I mean, in the presence of Tiffany, right? And I don't know Teresa very well, but like, I mean, a nurse, and oh my gosh, right? I don't feel worthy to be here. But you know what? I'm just going to do it anyway. I'm just going to write anyway. Writing the chapters, or the articles in the magazine. Like, the the words don't come easy for me.
Yeah.
Right? But just do it. Who cares? It's your story. It's your words. Just do it anyway.
That's right. That's right.
That's kind of what I got to say.
I love that. And you know what, Audrey? You are worthy to be in any and every room that you want to be in, honey. Okay. And you just said it, and you just got to do it anyway.
Yeah.
You just got to do it anyway. That's that overcoming that imposter syndrome, right? You just do it anyway. You do it, knees knocking, stomach, just aching, right? And you got sweat beads, coming down the forehead, but you do it anyway, because that's where the magic happens when you have those types of feelings. So I love that. So let's talk a little bit about some routines and practices. I know, Audrey, you had already mentioned, having that, that visionary, that was there, through your project. I really feel that is a lot of the success from, the projects that I've been a part of, is being able to have a team of people together, having the accountability, being able to, partner up with a group of people that have that same goal, and when it all comes out and you're able to read it all together, it's just an amazing feeling, it's of celebration. So, let's talk about some of the routines and practices, that we do to boost our creativity. I know I'm a tapper, and I'm also a grounder. I love going out and hugging trees and walking out in the grass and things like that. That definitely does spark my creativity. And I also like to color. If things do not come in my head, I will break out my coloring books and my crayons, my pencils, all that stuff, and I'll just sit and be a kid for a minute until it comes to me as well. So that really does spark my creativity. So Teresa, please share what are some things, so what are some routines and practices that spark your creativity?
What sparks my creativity is, number one, every single day I write. Right now, I'm in the process of writing a book proposal and a book for Hay House. So I'm actually in their writers, it's called an authorpreneur community. So twice a year we get to submit. So in April, I will be submitting. And it doesn't always come easy, but what I use for creativity is, number one, I try to get up to see the sunrise. And when I say try, it doesn't always happen. And there's mornings that when it's cloudy, I could say, good, I could sleep another hour, so that's fine. But I try to get up because when there's the dawn of a new day, to me, it means that everything and anything is possible. So that's what I do. I also do a morning meditation, short meditation, and short yoga.
Mhm.
And then I write. I sit down and I write. So I'll write either in a journal or a paper my thoughts and what I want to write about, or I'll do it on the computer. And what I'll do is just put down, okay, say I'm supposed to be talking about um, practices and chapters. Okay, how do I want the chapters to go? What do I want to start with? And I'll just start jotting things down. Okay, this is interesting. This is interesting. People may want to know about this. And then I have a whole jumble of words and sentences, either in my computer or on paper. And then from there, I could look at it and decide what needs to be fleshed out, what could be done better. Um, Things also just kind of come to me. Like even with the magazine articles, I'll sit down to write a magazine article and I know what I want to write and I'll start writing it. And then before it's finished, within about 24 to 48 hours from the time I start, it's different because things just come to me. I also take a walk to clear my head and to get creativity. And I also carry my phone with me, not to text or answer calls, but to do voice, what do they call them? Voice messages to give myself, if I get an inspiration, I'll write it down. Or I should say I'll use it on my phone. And that way I have the voice of it because it's powerful when you write and when you speak. Once it either becomes on paper or once it comes out of your mouth and goes out into the universe, it becomes a reality. So from there, that also sparks creativity because now you're putting something tangible out into reality and you could act on it. Whereas if you have something in your thoughts and you keep it in your thoughts, it's not really being expressed because it's still in the form of a thought, which is energy, but it's not active energy. So because we're all energy, we're made of the same stuff as the sky, the universe is made of, just in different proportions. So we're connected to everything and anything, and everything is energy, including our whole physical body. It's simply energy if you look at it at the crudest level. We're all energy, an exchange of ions. That's what we are. So once that thought gets put out on paper or gets put out through your mouth, it's now active energy and it gets carried to where it needs to go.
Absolutely. Love it. Love it. Thank you so much, Teresa. Audrey, what are some routines and practices that you do to boost that creativity?
Well, first of all, I'm going to say I'm definitely not a consistent routine person. I don't have any real consistency unless I have to show up for things on a specific. Oh, sorry, dogs are going to bark. Of course, they choose to bark now. Anyway, so what I do really is I play with my dogs, right? Hold on, let me just tell her to come here.
She wants to be part of the show too. I think my dog actually sparks creativity for me as well.
Yeah, I think my friend's coming downstairs and scaring the heck out of her. So my creativity is playing with my dogs or going for a walk with my dogs, right? So I kind of do that. I also have a cat who, so animals really bring out my creativity. Like Teresa, I go for a walk, and like you, Tiffany, I go hug a tree or, sit in nature. And in the summertime, I might lay in the grass and just look up at the sky, right? I haven't done that too much here in winter because it's a little chilly, but But yeah, so I just, or for me, my creativity can also come by cleaning something
Yeah.
in a drawer, that needs organizing. And I'm like, oh my gosh, there it is. Because when
Yeah.
I'm not thinking about it, then all of a sudden there it is. Um, and that kind of, I used to have a cleaning company and I'd be cleaning and things would just be happening in my head and I'd never write them down. And I'm like, now I realized that as I'm doing stuff in my house or, outside or whatever, thoughts just come. And I always have a notepad with me somewhere. I have little books. I have little books everywhere. Write stuff down. And so, then I can pull it out of there, pull that information out of there. And yeah, so it's my animals.
Yeah.
It's actually working on deep projects, that they come. Maybe even talking to friends. You having conversations. That's one of the other things is I'm talking with friends, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh my gosh, I gotta write that down.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you can utilize your phone, as Teresa said, instead of utilizing it to text or, be online, utilize it to, real quick, do a quick, voice record, so you can go back to it, right? Or a voice note, so it's there, for you to refer back to and add on to and all that good stuff. I love what you were saying about even like, organizing your space, right? Because when we have a clean space, like it sparks so much more creativity and it really gives us so much more clarity. I think when we do have a nice space, like right now I'm in the middle of a move, right? So I'm having a little bit of a time being able to be here to, get down into that creative space. So I have to go out. I have to go out to the park. I have to go, out. I've even gone to the library. I love the library and being able to go into, they have their quiet rooms, and they've got, hey, you can go to the library and go in their quiet room for free, for an hour or whatever that is. And it's great. So we have no excuses. There's always going to be places for us to be able to get out that creativity. Another thing is working out. I love after a really good workout, my just, you've got all those endorphins and everything just swirling around. And I just get the craziest, ideas and thoughts in my head after a really, really good workout. So that also sparks my creativity. So that's awesome. So let's talk about strategies that we use to, get through that inner critic. Because sometimes, when we're starting to finish those projects, we get stuck. And sometimes we get stuck where it's now we're sitting on a book for a year, 2 years, 3 years, sometimes even longer than that, because we just can't get through that inner critic of ours. So let's talk about that, Teresa. So what are some strategies that people can use to get through, and defeat that inner critic so they can get those works of art out there?
Yeah, well, that inner critic is your mind. It's your brain working overtime. So what I suggest and what I do is I always find time, like you said, a quiet space like a library or just sitting quietly someplace or taking a walk and observing what's around. And I get more into my heart, because that's where your true feelings and that's where your knowing really is. Because, the inner critic is everything that gets projected on the outside. I'm not good enough to do this. Maybe I don't know this. Who wants to read that? And it just comes because it's our fear of success. So if we really look at it, we're not afraid to fail. We're afraid to be successful.
Hmm.
So if you think of your inner critic that way, you could overcome it, because when you're sitting still and you're focusing just on the present moment, You could always use a phrase, or I call it a mantra, which is something repeated over and over again,
Mhm.
that it could either be, I am worthy, I am successful, I welcome success. And then that changes your brain of
Mhm.
how you're thinking about something, because we're our own worst enemies.
There we
We
are.
always are. We're our own worst enemy. So if something doesn't get done, or we're not successful at something, most of the time it has to do with us, the way we're thinking about it, how we present something. But it's been documented that people aren't afraid of failure, they're
Mhm.
afraid of the success. And when you're afraid of the success, you're going to block yourself from really doing well. And the second thing is, who cares what people think about you?
That's right. That's right.
Who really cares? I mean, you're the one that has to live your life, not them. So you can't have everybody like you. Of course, you don't want everybody to hate you. That's a whole nother thing. But
Mhm.
not everybody's going to like you. And if you're authentic, you'll resonate with the people that are on that same, what I call, frequency. Because
Mhm.
again, everything is energy. So
That's right.
depending on what you're thinking is what you attract.
That's it.
So I
Yeah.
like to be around people that accomplish more than I do. And
Mhm.
I find that since I'm part of the Hay House writing, the authors community, if there's people there that have contracts with Hay House, that have books that are bestsellers, and do I get a little envious? Sometimes, yes. But then I also use the energy from those people in that space, and it is virtual. So
Mhm.
I call that energy into me. Now, how could I improve myself? I look at some of the things that they do. I listen to what they say, what they're doing, whether it be social media, whether it be travel, whether it be anything, and
Mhm.
how they have garnered that success. And then I come away thinking, my thought process then is, okay, so and so did it. That means I'm fully capable of doing it. I
Mhm.
just needed to learn how to get myself moving in that direction. So I
Mhm.
think if we look at it from that perspective, that we all have that potential to be successful. And
Right.
it's what success means to you. Is it a lot of money? Is it fame? What is it?
Right.
Is it helping people? Whatever success is for you, you have that ability and that capability. It's just a matter of us getting it out there and not being afraid of success, because there's really nothing to be afraid of.
Right.
And you put a book out there, what's the worst that could happen? There's really no downside to it whatsoever.
No, it's really.
So why not just go ahead and do it?
That's right. That's right. Oh, I love it. I love it. Audrey, let's talk about
Well,
it.
some of the things that I do to kind of stay focused is to use essential oils.
Okay.
That's one of my routines. I, put it on the different areas. This one is called Shenron Yoko, which is forest bathing.
Oh.
So yeah, so I can be in the forest and not even be in the forest. I can be in my house, and then just breathe it in, because our olfactory is our mood and our memory.
Mhm.
So smelling smells that can create that creativity is one of the things that I do when I sit down to write. Um, I use uh, 4 oils to focus. And I don't know if they're focusing oils. They're really not, but the combination just right.
Yeah.
Jasmine, neroli, magnolia, and rose. I
Oh,
put
wow.
those together. Like in rollerball, I just roll them on one at a time, and it just seems to focus me. And I can do my projects that I need to get done um, in, in easy time, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
The other one is I do tapping sometimes.
I love
It's not, yeah, it's not my go to, but I do it sometimes. Um, and then the other one is just sit in silence and just kind of close my eyes and just be, because that's kind of my theme. I'm not a human doing; I'm a human being, and and just being there usually brings up the creativity and all of that kind of stuff. So, yeah, those are kind of my go-to routines, my go-to things that I do to be able to bring me back to that creative time.
I love the essential oils. I use essential oils myself, and it's amazing. Even music, putting music on, and they even have some music that has, that binaural, type beat in there where it is going to help you to focus in and be, very laser in it. So it's just, that's amazing. So those are great strategies, ladies. So for those that, I mean, there's a lot of people out there right now that would love to share their story, whether it be writing a chapter, whether it be writing, a memoir, whatever that is. And, some of them have stacks of papers in the drawer, or they have, a flash drive that is just full of, content. What's some encouragement, some words of encouragement that you can give them to get to the other side, like you ladies did, to be able to share their brilliance. So we'll start with you, Teresa, and then we'll go right over to you, Audrey.
Okay. First, I'd like to apologize. I had to plug my computer into the battery because, 18 hours only goes so far. So I forget that it needs charging. So, words of encouragement. I would tell people just do it. That everybody either has a story to tell that could help somebody, information or tools that could help somebody, a combination of the above, or just get out there. Even if you think you have nothing to say, start putting it on paper, create a story, and then just put it out there and see what happens. You may be surprised at what could happen. But every day, I would encourage people just to write, to get whatever you're thinking down on paper or on a voice memo, whichever you prefer, and get it out there. Give it that energy, because once it gets that energy then will go where it needs to go, and it'll actually guide you. So it may take you to a place that you never thought you were going to go, or it may take you to a place that you've always wanted to be. But again, you have nothing to lose. You have nothing to lose by writing down your thoughts or writing a story, creating something, and then just playing with it and say, okay, where could this go? What do I want to do with this? And, for people that may be hesitant, I think anthologies are great
Yeah.
because you could write a short amount, I think as little as 1,000 words
Mhm.
sometimes,
Yep.
and you could still get out there as an author and still have something to say,
Yeah.
but you're there with other people who are also doing their own stories or their own topics. So I would say anthologies are also good. And then from an anthology, you could step into being a solo author and then creating your own book. So either way, it's just a fantastic thing to do. Just write, put your thoughts, get that energy out there. And I think you'll be pleasantly surprised as to where it takes you.
Yeah, just do it. And yeah, like you said, Teresa, those anthologies are amazing because you have the support right there. You have people that are going through some of the same emotions and things that you are. And, it really just helps. So, real quick, before we go to Audrey, if you could just share, Teresa, how people can get in touch with you as well, and where they can get your book.
Okay. My book is called Heal Your Heart from Within. It's available on Amazon.com, BalboaPress.com. booksamillion.com and barnesandnoble.com also. And you could get in touch with me through my website. It's wellbeinggal.com, WELLBEINGGAL, all one word.com. I'm also at Instagram. You could either look up my name or it's at well_being_gal. So those are where you could find me. I do respond to every email that I do get on my website. So feel free to contact me.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Teresa. All right, Audrey, some words of encouragement for our authors out there, or our inspiring authors.
Remember, I had a brain infection when I was writing my book, and I co-authored. So find a group. Like, I mean, I know, Tiffany, you have some co-author books and stuff, right? So
Yeah.
get into something and just write a chapter. You don't have to write a whole book right off the hop, right? Write something small. Write in a magazine, something small, right? So you don't have to bite off more than you can chew with the writing, right? So take it in small chunks. Find something small to write, and write that for sure. So I want to write a compilation book, like with other people as well. So if you want to write a book, talk to me too, right? My book is, I want it to be called Messy Me. So it can be messy. It doesn't have to be perfect. That's what the book's going to be, is just because I'm not perfect. I'm a mess, and I'm going to write about it because I know out there's other people that are a mess, and that doesn't mean that, like, that you have to be that perfect, writer. Just write something.
That's right.
Get it out there, and have editors help you refine it, because that's what happened with me. Is it was messy, and it took many go-throughs to go, well, you should move this here, and here's a suggestion on how to write that, and how to get that across better. And I feel it worked out really well. So find somebody who's going to help you edit and get it out there.
Yeah. Yes. So editors are very, very, very important, and just make sure that they are an editor that keeps your voice. I say that often because there are a lot of editors. You want to. It's almost like a marriage with an editor. So make sure that you do your research on the editor. Make sure that you even give them a little test drive. To make sure that they do exactly what you need them to do to get you to the finish line. Because who would want to get to the finish line and go through, and there's things that just don't sound exactly the way that they wanted it to. So Audrey, you said something very, very critical here as well. Authors, if you are out there, if you are aspiring authors and you want to just get your toe, just dip your toe, we would love to have you on our platform to come and just be a subject matter expert, write about the things that you are an expert at in life. If you are a fitness expert, come and write about your fitness expertise. Mental health professionals, even those out there that are in, spirituality and things like that. And, just helping others to elevate their mind, body, and spirit. We would love to have you on and help you to be able to just grow into that author that you want to be. So definitely connect with us. You can see these two ladies monthly in the magazine, sharing their brilliance on the things that they do, and sharing their books, their events that are coming up, as well as their products that they offer too. So you definitely want to tap in. So ladies, I just want to thank you so much for joining me today and helping to inspire and encourage some of those authors out there that are just, waiting, again, they're hiding it, but look, get it out there, everybody, get it out there for sure. Tap into us here at Phoenix Fitness Fanatics Magazine. Subscribe, go to Phoenix Fitness Fanatics Magazine or Phoenix Fitness Fanatics Mag 2021.com, and you can get your subscription there. We love you so much, and check it. We will see you guys next time. Take care, everybody. We'll see you.
Thank you. Thank you.